Greg Tingle back with Dan the Beast Severn, professional wrestling and mixed martial artist, living legend. Dan, you'll be returning to the United States shortly. So many changes happening in the landscape of professional wrestling. NWA's resurgence, the emergence of AEW, All Elite Wrestling, Chris Jericho, the new champion there, Vince McMahon and Triple H, Paul Levesque, and the powers that be there are continuing to steer WWE into the future to make sure they hold on to their fans and regain new ones. And your old mate with the rivalry, Ken Shamrock, the world's most dangerous man, starting his Valor bare knuckle. Do you plan to get involved in any of these new exciting ventures in the US, or are you doing something else that we don't actually know at the moment, Dan?
Well, I mean, it's well, as we covered some of the ground earlier, I do have a very full plate of all things I do instructional-wise, but I'm also involved with a group that has started up a new podcast that's going to be covering a number of different areas. Now, there are quite a few different podcasts, and ours will probably only way it's going to differ. It's going to be blending of a multitude of things because of the background of myself and because of some of the other people that are going to be on there. Don Fry is going to be on there as much as I could get Don Fry on there. So Don Fry was an amateur wrestler. He was a boxer, and he was a mixed martial arts, no barred to a mixed martial artist. He's I mean, I'm known as the realest guy in the room. I've got a book that's even entitled "The Realest Guy in the Room" because I don't sugarcoat things. I kind of tell people if they ask me my opinion, I give them my opinion, whether they like it or not. Well, compared to Don Fry, I actually have a buffer. Don Fry does not have a buffer. So
I love it.
A few people might get their feelings hurt by some rather blunt type of answers, but I go, if that's the case, then don't ask the answer if you can't handle the reality of a truthful answer. So you're going to have people like that, but then we're going to delve into a lot of different areas. We're going to delve into professional wrestling. We're going to delve into amateur wrestling. We're going to delve into professional wrestling, amateur wrestling, mixed martial arts, no barred. We'll talk about even whatever. We'll jump into some politics from time to again. But we want this to be it's going to be a very colorful show. But we want it to link into where we'll talk to some of the new stars in both areas, professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, but then also we want to have that throwback to where now, just like what you talked about earlier, when there's a 400-pound weight difference, a lot of people will not know who that match was with. Manny Yarbrough, sumo wrestler, versus Keith Hackney. Well, Manny Yarbrough, he is gone, but Keith Hackney is still living in the Chicago, Illinois area. He has a heating and cooling company, but then he also runs a Temple Karate studio. So we would like to be able to bring a Keith Hackney on board with this, show some of his footage from that, and just ask him questions like, Keith, here you are, Big John McCarthy, the best known referee, is out in the center, and he's pointing to you. Are you ready? And you nod your head, and then he looks over to Manny Yarbrough, who's got basically almost a foot of height on you, and 200 plus pounds over you. What's going through your mind? How are you going to chop this man down? So again, these are going to be some interesting things because we want to be this link. We don't want people. There's a lot of people that they don't know their history at all. Of where did they come from? Well, Keith Hackney is still alive. Let him tell you his story from his own lips.
That'd be great.
Of what he's doing there.
That'd be tremendous.
When they're looking to do stuff like, I'll invite Ken Shamrock on there.
Yeah.
So again, we can just talk about matches. What was going through your mind in this match? Okay, and this what was going through my match. Again, we did not really know each other.
Yeah.
Like I said, this being on this trip, being in Melbourne with them, then being in Sydney with them, being a part of the debate with them, but then still being behind the curtain and things of nature. Well, I learned more about who Ken Shamrock was and or is.
Well, like all of us, also our growing up, our formative youth, and going through the years over decades, that turns us into the person from our life experiences. And Ken's a bit of an open book in many regards. I mean, there is a couple of books about him, a rough childhood and martial arts and wrestling. It sounds like, in essence, it quite possibly saved his life, got him off the streets, and then he got paid to do what he's one of the best in the world doing. So that was his saviour in many ways, I think.
Yes, I totally agree, and that's where, that is his story. That's where he came from. Whereas, as I said earlier, I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
I had 7 other brothers and sisters. I probably had more of a life of a Tom Sawyer. Just great, a great family environment of growing up and having. All kinds of chores to do in the morning, having to go and slop the pigs and take care of the cattle and do all this stuff before you got taken care of, and then you still had to walk up to the corner to catch the school bus and things of that nature. So a very structured life and but a life of a lot of competition, and then knowing that opportunities and recognizing opportunities. That's why I enjoy doing motivational speaking more and more, but I only speak from my perspective.
Yeah, no, look, excellent. And I can tell, speaking to you, when you go live with your podcast, you're going to be shaking up the podcast world. So watch out, WWE, who are ramping up their podcasts. Chris Jericho, Joe Rogan, Booker T, and a few others. I see yourself heading for that top 10 very, very quickly. And maybe one of these big mobs, whether it's a WWE or an ESPN or podcast, something, and they'll probably try to do business with you. So it's going to be exciting times. And Dan, thank you for sharing some of your story, your amazing career and life, and you've got a lot more to do. And we're going to be hearing more about it on the podcast. And thank you so much from me and many of our friends and associates that are going to be listening in for sharing this with us. And we're going to continue to follow your story basically forever.
Okay, well, Mr. Greg Tingle, I want to thank you for actually having me on this tonight, and for all the listeners that are still looking to find out a little bit more what Dan Severn is up to, simply go to my website, dansevern.com. Severn is spelled S-E-V like Victor, E-R-N, dansevern.com. It has all my social media outlets there. So you can look at there and then find out, I've got a Facebook page, I've got the Twitter account, I've got a Snapchat, things of that nature, and that's where you can find out that stuff. I'm a bit of a dinosaur, but I have some young people that are helping me out just to show the beast how to do some of these things.
Fantastic.
That could be an entire segment alone there, Greg. Knowing that the cell phone did not exist when I was in college.
We're on the moving bird ourselves. I've been in media 20 years and new things keep popping up and we have to improvise to get the job done. But we've done it again tonight. We've got your interview. We'll continue to follow you. The moment you set foot back on American soil, we'll be writing about you and blogging and podcast, all that sort of stuff. So thank you again, and have a safe, happy trip back, and looking forward to catching up with you again next time.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Thanks, Dan. Bye for now.
Yep.